Hi everyone, welcome to the first lesson of Module 2. But before we begin, let's just have a quick recap of the first module. From the beginning of this program, the main thing is for us to make you think strategically when it comes to your business. We don't want you to do what everybody does simply because everybody does it. You are unique and therefore your business should be unique. You do things differently, therefore how your business does things, it should be different. You believe in different things, therefore what your business believe, it should be different as well. So we want you to get into a space whereby you not only think strategically, but you're able to plan properly from what you want to achieve in your business. Hence, we asked you from the first module to analyze yourself because your business is an extension of who you are, and how you want things to be done will determine how you go about making them possible. So we touched on knowing your purpose, and knowing your purpose or meaning for your business was for you to have clarity on why you're starting or running your business. Your business purpose and passion shouldn't be separate from your individual purpose and passion. So today we're going to touch on whom your purpose will benefit, your client. Your client can be everyone, but when you're a small business, you cannot target everyone because you have limited resources. Therefore, you're only able to reach a limited number of people, but you can always start small and spread out as your business grows. Not targeting everyone doesn't mean you cannot change who you want to market and sell to. Remember, you can always change your market when you need to. And also, it doesn't mean that you should only stick to that market forever. You can always spread out to other markets. Nothing is permanent. Imagine you don't have to struggle to get clients. Imagine you see profits coming into your business daily. Imagine you see your business growing from stride to stride. Every entrepreneur wants this type of picture for their business. But remember, as a small business, when you know whom you're targeting, you know how to sell to them. Therefore, you're able to create an offer that they will say yes to. And when you do that, you save on the resources that you have to spend. You're able to create a loyal client base because they believe that you have their best interest at heart. So with your business thinking like this, then you're able to grow and be able to contribute into the country's economy, whether it's hiring people or exporting the products and the services from South Africa into other countries. This is the dream that every entrepreneur wants. No entrepreneur wants their business to be stagnant. No entrepreneur wants their business to have the same client. No entrepreneur wants to get into a space where they feel like they hit the plateau. Every business wants to grow. But with small businesses, we need to be tactical about how we go about doing that. And we're going to get into it now. You may be asking yourself, who do I sell to then? Why can't I target everyone? Or who can I make my target market and why? Knowing who to target at the beginning, it's a very, very crucial thing to do for the effectiveness of your marketing strategy. Obviously, eventually you want everyone to be using your product or buying from you. But as a small business, if you try to target everyone, it's like trying to eat an entire loaf of bread all at once instead of slicing it. Remember on the last module, we touched on cutting bigger tasks to smaller achievable tasks. The same principle applies here. Instead of seeing your target market as an entire loaf of bread, see them as slices of bread. You take one slice, dedicate your time spreading the butter, the peanut butter, and jam onto that slice. Eat it before moving on to the next slice. When you know your niche is the target market that you're targeting specifically. When you know your niche, then you will be able to understand how they think, how they make decisions, and this will determine how effective your marketing and selling will be. You will be able to achieve all of this without having to invest lots of money or lots of time, simply because you chose that small market to cater to. Let's look at how things currently are. Most small businesses emulate what big businesses do. They emulate what businesses do because they think that if they do what big businesses do, they will be rich quicker like the big businesses. I see many small businesses copying what big businesses do with the hope that they will succeed and they will succeed very quick. I can tell you now, such tactics don't work. Instead, they end up straining your resources with little or no return at all. When you have little, you won't be able to do everything. Accept that and begin being strategic with the little that you have. Point number 2, the perception that we need millions to make what we need a possibility. I know many of my friends who believe that if they could just have that 1 million, then they could start doing this and that into their business. But as a small business, yeah, you do have limited resources, but it's about how you use those little resources to make your business grow from one stride to another. How you manage your little resources will determine how long your small business will last. The big problem we currently have as small business owners is our thinking. We think we need money to run a successful business, but if you cannot get the most out of the little you have, then you won't be able to get the most out of abundance. And that means your abundance will run out. It's easy to lose and waste money when there's lots of it. So as small businesses, yes, we have less in comparison to big businesses. But being able to take the little you have and transform it to more, that's what entrepreneurship is about. It's about taking that 100 Rand and converting it to 200 and 200 to 400 and so on. But the problem is most of us think we need that million in order to make things possible. But it's about how you manage your resources to make it all possible for you. So you need proper management of these little resources. And I mean, you may wonder, like, why then do we need to manage our resources well? And how does this link back to our target market? Your understanding of who you're targeting will determine the effectiveness of your marketing, which will determine the return you will get. If you spend 100 Rand to get new clients, and you get 4 of them who spend 50 Rand each, then you've used 100 Rand to gain 100 Rand. That's a profit of 100 Rand because 50 times 4 equals 200 and the 100 Rand is the cost. So once you know the resources that you have and you know how much you can dedicate in getting that one client, which will give you a return of this much, then you know how to use the little resources that you have. Okay, let's compare how the current way of doing things and how we want you to do things look. So let's say we have 2 entrepreneurs. They sell cakes. They both sell cakes at 1,500. One is Thabo and the other is Lindy. Thabo targets everyone and Lindy targets single mothers who are career driven and live in the northern suburbs. They both write their adverts to sell their cakes to those they target. So Thabo's ad reads, cakes for everyone, cakes for birthdays, weddings, and anniversary. Call Thabo on 08 da 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 da. And then Lindy's ad reads, are you a working mom who doesn't have time to bake a cake? We offer cakes for birthdays, weddings, and anniversaries. Call Lindy Cakes on da 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 da. So let me ask you, which ad do you think has more impact? I'll let you think a bit. Obviously, the advert that if I were a single mom who doesn't have the time to bake a cake for her daughter on her birthday, I would definitely relate to Lindy's ad because it shows that Lindy understands the problem that I have and is a solution to my problem. Remember, as human beings, we are relational. We think that if an ad is able to show that they understand me, that they know what is it that I'm struggling with, I feel that that company will treat me better because they know what is it that I'm going through. So the lesson for this example is you're able to create impactful marketing communication when you know your market very well. So let's add another spin to it. Like this is a second example. So we say Thabo targets everyone, and because he targets everyone, he decides, okay, fine, he will advertise on Facebook, but he will advertise on the sidebar of Facebook. And he spends 300 doing that. But Lindy, because she knows her target market so well, she decides to go a slightly different route. She approaches this magazine that targets women in business or women climbing the corporate ladder, and she proposes that she can advertise on their Facebook page or their Facebook group in return for baking a cake for them since they're celebrating 4 years being in the industry. So Thabo advertises on Facebook, he spends 300. Lindy decides to approach a magazine that has probably plus minus 10,000 followers on their Facebook group and says, can I advertise in your group in return for me to bake you a cake that is worth 1,500? So this means Lindy has spent 1,500 to advertise in comparison to Thabo. Through her marketing efforts though, Lindy gets 3 clients that together bring 4,500. But because of the high competition on the sidebar advertising on Facebook for Thabo, unfortunately he doesn't get any clients. So Lindy has spent 1,500 and gains 3,000. Thabo has spent 300 but lost 300 because he didn't get any clients. So the lesson here is when you know your target market, you're able to think strategically on anything rather than doing what everybody is doing. When you know your target market, you're able to think of the best way to do something rather than doing something because people are telling you that this is the way of doing it. So here are more reasons for you to choose a niche market instead of targeting everyone. When you're specific, you will use less resources, you will get to know your market better, you will develop impactful communication, you will gain clients that will be loyal to your company, and you will spend less time trying to convince people to buy your product because they feel you already understand them. It will be easy for them to just make that decision. But when you target everyone, you use more resources, you generalize your market and try to sell to everyone, which will use like literally all of your resources. Thirdly, you dilute your communication to cater to everyone, so it becomes meaningless to the person that is reading it because it's just stating what you sell and doesn't actually touch on their need or problem. Number 4, you chase quantity instead of gaining quality clients. Quality clients are those clients that will stay loyal. And number 5, you spend more time trying to convince people to buy from you instead of the competition. Because there's nothing that differentiates you from the competition, you struggle to keep people because once you raise your prices a bit, they will leave you and say, okay, I can find a cheaper option somewhere and somewhere. So you need to be specific in order not only just to make sure that you use your resources well, but it will help you in so many things. Okay, now let's help you work towards defining your target market. Who you target is where your marketing strategy should begin. Because who you're targeting determines how your business communicates with its customers, how you package your product or service, what to charge for it, and many other things. So knowing whom you're going to target is very important. The problem with most entrepreneurs is that they don't do this exercise, and if they do it loosely. They will say something like, I'm targeting mothers. But there are so many mothers out there. You need to go deep and narrow it down. What kind of mother is this? Is it a stay-at-home mom or a career mom? If it's a career mom, are they married or single? How much do they earn? This is what we call segmentation. Segmentation is breaking down a group into smaller parts. This is a good way of getting specific. Don't be vague, don't be random, be as specific as you can. Don't be too specific though, we will touch on that later. You need to narrow your target market because if you try to target everyone, you become general, therefore blend in with all the other companies in your industry that are trying to sell to everyone. Nothing differentiates you, and that's the business you don't want to be in. There are variables that you can apply whether you're targeting a business or targeting a consumer. Let's take you through that now. When you're targeting consumers, the variables that you can look for can be location. Where do they live? Or where do they work? For example, it can be northern suburbs or Soweto. The other variable can be age or gender. The other one can be role. The role touches on the roles that people play in other people's life in different environments. So this might be a mother, like a woman plays a role of a mother. A woman can also play a role of a director. So roles are dependent on the role that the person plays. And then groups. These people share a common interest, therefore they can be described as a group. And these can be rockers, like people who love rock and roll, or it can be people who are enthusiastic about yoga. That is seen as a group. And the other element that can determine your target market can be the income level. Maybe you will choose to target people who only earn a specific amount of money every month, whether it's 20,000 to 40,000 every month. The other element is life situations. These are people who are in specific situations in their lives. For example, it can be people who just got married, or someone who just retired, or someone who just found a job. So those are life situations. These are the variables you can use in finding a target market of consumers. And the ones that you can apply into businesses, they can be categorized by industry. You might choose to do work for a specific industry and not other industries. The other element can be web presence. You might have an online product and you choose to only work with companies that have websites. If you don't have a website, then you don't work with them. Location can be another one. This also applies onto the consumers as well. And revenue level. This is about how much the business that you will be doing business with earns every month. We also use this one as our way to target our businesses. Your segment can be based on either preference or your understanding of that segment. But you need to make sure that your segment, you choose that segment because you will have leverage over your competition. For example, if you choose a segment based on industry, it should be because you know that industry very well, or you feel that industry is overlooked and therefore there's a lot of potential that other businesses are missing out on. Like I said, do not be too specific. Just make sure that your niche still comprises of a large number of people. If your niche is only made up of 5 people in the entire country, then just know that is too specific. Let me make an example with Phumzile's restaurant. So if Phumzile had decided that she'll only cater to tourists from the village in San Gimignano in Italy, that is too specific because there might be only one client a year that comes from that village. Am I making sense? Remember, you are doing this or using these techniques so that you don't get to struggle to get clients, so that you see profits coming into your business, so that you see your business growing from stride to stride. And this is possible if you follow all of these precisely. Okay, let's get into our action steps now. Action step number 1, there are 2 ways you can go about creating your own niche. It's either you go for the funnel technique or the mix and match technique. The funnel technique, as the name suggests, you dig deeper in finding a niche relevant for your business. You start off with the main segment, preferably a segment relating to a person. So for example, your main segment can be mother, tweens, young adults, etc., instead of a non-human related segment like location, income level. Then you create a sub-segment for that main segment and then use non-human related segments to guide you. So let's use Lindy's business for this example. So Lindy's main segment is mothers. And from that main segment, there are 3 sub-segments that you can choose from, which is career mothers, stay-at-home moms, single mothers. So Lindy chooses career mothers because she knows that they don't have time to bake cakes for their kids. Stay-at-home mothers have time to do that, and some single mothers may have time to do that. So she goes with career mothers. And then she chooses to use location. With this, it doesn't need to be location. It can be gender, it can be role. You will choose what will work best to give you that leverage over the competition. But with Lindy, she decides to use location, and then she goes for northern suburbs, and then she adds income level so that she knows that the people that she's trying to target are able to afford the cakes that she sells because they don't come cheap. And then she also uses life situation. So with life situation, basically it's creating that scenario or that story that you are trying to solve for them. So like for instance, with Lindy is she knows that they want to throw a birthday party for their children, nephew, niece, or godchildren. But obviously they don't have the time to do it. So therefore Lindy is the best solution to their problems. Action step number 2. After you've created your niche, then you need to write a profile of that client. So after you've made up your niche, just think of that one person that will fit the picture of a perfect client for you. A perfect client is the client that you would love to work with. So obviously you need to write down their profile in terms of saying they live here, they earn this much, their ambitions are this and that, they aspire to have this and that. So that's what the client profile is about. This is good for you. Like obviously it will be rare for you to find your perfect client, but this is good for 2 reasons. Is that it helps you visualize the type of clients you want to work with, you want to work with, and 2, for you to know what is it that you will need to learn about them so that you can sell to them better than the competition. So you need to create that client profile. There is a worksheet full of questions that you can answer to create your client profile. The methods and techniques that you've learned today can also be applied when you're defining your second market. That is, if you already find your first market and you're ready to move on to the second market or spread out from your first market. These techniques don't only apply to when you're looking for your first market, but can apply to any market, whether it's first, second, third, and so forth. Because you might find that some businesses have been operating for so long that they want to spread out and they want to grow their business or they want to grow their client base. So the same techniques can also be used by businesses that have been operating for years and years and years, but they want to go into other markets.